It was really a process of discovery for me. It obviously didn't start out with me making things as small as I make them now. And I've really learned a lot about knitting from designing my own garments in miniature because I've had to do things. I've had to figure it out, how to make a slanted pocket or how to put a sleeve on with as few seams as possible. And I've taught myself that, and I've read about knitting in order to learn how to do those things. I've learned more about knitting doing miniatures than I did full scale. It takes at least 3 months from the time I design it to the time I finish knitting it. All the techniques that I use are traditional techniques. I use different pieces of thread for every different color, so all of the images that you see are knit directly into the fabric. I don't embroider onto it at all. I just knit all the images right in. So there's a lot of thread hanging off the back of the sweater. I really do love a challenge, and I've always been like that. I've always wanted to see if I can do it, you know, and I don't give up easily. For me, part of the enjoyment is designing things that are more and more challenging. And in fact, before I even started miniatures, that became part of my enjoyment of knitting, was learning how to do more complex designs in sweaters, learning how to do complex items like gloves, and I really loved that. So for me, making a sweater that's about 1 centimeter long, you know, an entire sweater with buttons and everything, that was one of my major, you know, challenges to myself. It was very difficult. I had to use extremely thin wires, about the size of a hair. In many ways, my knitting came about because of, I have the heart of a collector, I think, and loving the miniature items in the house inspired me to collect many wonderful little things, which I just still have in boxes. You know, they should be displayed. But I love small things. I love detailed small things. My favorite things so far have been the items with images in them. There's a long tradition of imagery in fiber arts. There's tapestries, there's beaded handbags, many wonderful embroideries, and all of those things are very small scale, really. If you look at the stitches, they're done in lots of detail. And so what I love to do is put as much imagery as I can into a knit. And then as I'm knitting it, I feel very impatient to see what it's going to look like. Is that going to look like a person, the thing that I had in my mind's eye? And I'm always amazed, always, how it works out to really look how I wanted it to look. When I started knitting, and people ask me what I do, I really had a hard time saying I was an artist. Those words just wouldn't come out of my mouth. I was a respiratory therapist. My background is in science. And so it was very hard for me to describe what I did as art. And really I felt like it's a craft, it's a hobby. But people have responded to it very well. It's included in an art show in New York City. It's being looked at by others as art, and so not that validates it really for me in any further way, but it does make me feel more comfortable saying I'm an artist.